I'm gay and I'm a Christian. And if that doesn't make sense to you, please stay and listen. I was raised in a Christian home, and I was taken very often to a Christian church. And I never really heard the gospel there. But now I found it and I want to share it with you. My family is a beautiful Christian family that love God and they love Jesus. They love the beauty that is the Christian tradition. It's beautiful, and I'm so happy that I was a part of it. But a lot of people had some of the things that come out of Christian tradition interfere with the gospel. And I want to address those things. When I was a teenager, I started realizing I was gay. When I shared that with people, a lot of times all I faced was judgment. A lot of times all I faced was condemnation. A lot of times all I faced was people pointing out how that was a flaw and I needed to fix it. I needed to trust God to fix it. And that's what pushed me out of the church. That's what pushed me out of Christianity. And I moved on with my life. I never thought I could love myself because I just didn't realize that love was real. I always thought love was conditional. I had gotten it in my head that I wasn't good enough to be fully and totally loved if I was completely and totally known. Because people kept telling me I was broken. People kept telling me I was sinful because people have made this assumption based off of what I view as a complete misinterpretation of the Bible, that just because I was gay, that I wanted to have a gay relationship and have sexual relationships. It didn't fit into a heterosexual norm. Because I didn't fit into that norm, I wasn't worthy of love and salvation. So I want to address some of those misinterpretations and misconceptions. And I really hope you listen. I really do. Don't swipe away. If you've gotten this far, please don't swipe away. Please hear me out. Because this is important. And if you think that the Bible clearly says homosexuality is a sin and therefore homosexuals need to stop being gay or living the gay lifestyle, however you put it, if you think that gay people can't be Christian, please just listen. I've learned a lot recently about how the Bible was actually written and compiled, who it was written and compiled for. A lot of people make this assumption that the Bible is just the Word of God. It's just providentially blessed to be completely and totally perfect because God just let it happen. I don't believe that to be the case. The Bible is a compilation of writings of men who had been inspired to write something that they felt connected them to the divine in various different ways. There is prose, there is poetry, there is literature, there is metaphor, there is wisdom. And I've come across a couple of resources that I want to share with you too. First is Streetlights. Streetlights is an awesome audio Bible that it's a recording of the New Living Translation. And it really opened it up to me because I've always struggled to read text. By being able to just hear it in a normal language, and they back it up with beautifully produced hip-hop style backing tracks, so you can just get into it and you can just vibe with the word, and it is awesome. So go check out Streetlights. And the other resource is called The Bible Project. There is a gentleman named Tim Mackey who has produced a ton of content about how to understand the Bible and really beautiful explainers of each book of the Bible and how to get the most of it. Please check out that one too, Bible Project. And I started there. I learned about how the Bible is not about the stories themselves. It's not about David and Goliath. It's not about Paul and Silas. It's about Jesus. It's all about Jesus and the perfect love that he revealed to the world. That perfect love is for everybody. So I had to do a lot of research. In my learning and my exploration, I've discovered something that challenged me a lot. It changed my perspective, and it was the understanding of this concept of inerrancy that just gets kind of assumed in a lot of churches. I had to understand what it meant. I had to question whether or not it was an assumption that I should hold on to. I finally realized that I can't hold on to that assumption. So we need to talk about that, okay? We need to talk about inerrancy. We need to talk about literalism. We need to talk about when you read something in the Bible, what does it mean exactly what the words say right there that you're seeing just because you read it out of a certain verse? Or does it mean something more? Can you consider it in the greater context of the cultures and peoples that were writing it? If you can, it reveals so much more. It reveals so much more. The Apostle Paul, who in the New Testament wrote most of the writings, or is at least attributed to writing the verses that a lot of people struggle with, the book of Romans and the book of 1 Corinthians specifically, those two verses, the first chapter of Romans is very detailed in Paul's vision of people who have turned their backs on God and therefore have been given over to youthful lusts. And he viewed some of that as including homosexuality. And then in 1 Corinthians, there is a verse about how there's a number of different bad people, and there are words that get translated as homosexuality in those verses too. But the first thing you need to understand is that homosexuality, as we understand it as a culture, is very different from the way that Paul perceived it. Okay? It's very different. And the other thing that you need to understand is that the word homosexuality is a fairly new term. All right? Because being gay, being queer has always been in the shadows. And people didn't start talking about it really very openly for a very long time. They made assumptions and they made judgments of other people. Those judgments got carried on through our cultures, became institutionalized homophobia. And I want to stand up against that. I'm running out of time on this recording, so I'll need to make a part 2.